What is good, AI family? This is Athletic Intelligence here, back with another episode on June 8th. Your co-host here, Dante, along with Cal. We before I have you jump in, Cal, I gotta let the viewers know it's been a crazy week of news. So crazy that we originally decided that we were gonna record this episode 2 nights ago. We were gonna do it on a Tuesday night on the 6th. We decided to hold off until tonight, this Thursday night. For whatever reason, every time we decide to postpone or wait a day or two, it's a blessing because breaking news comes out literally the next day, and this adds on to the episode, or else we would have to wait an extra week. So for whatever reason, I don't know if you noticed that trend, but that happens every single time. If we decide to wait an extra day and the next morning we have this breaking news and we then have something else to talk about that might take off something or just add on to the episode. So blessing in disguise, kind of weird how that works out for us. But that's just a little inside back behind the scenes there. Because we have a bunch of stuff. Yesterday alone was just jam-packed of so much information in one day. That was just crazy in itself. So we have a lot of heavy hitters today to get into in various sports, like always. But this one is going to be, I will buckle up for this one. If I'm honest with you, this episode we're going to buckle up, and Cal's going to come in with some heat. I'm definitely coming in with some heat with these takes and our opinions on various things. I know you're ready. I know I'm ready, but are you ready, Cal?
I'm definitely ready. Like you said, we were supposed to record this on Tuesday, and we had very, very big breaking news on Tuesday, which a lot of people were. I either got a text message, a DM, or someone came up to me talking about what was going on in the golf world, and are we talking about it? Are we going to end up talking about it? We don't really do too much golf talk around here because it's more just a recreational game for me. I don't usually follow who's playing professional golf unless Tiger Woods is involved, but we had an crazy headline breakout on Tuesday. PGA, Live, and the DP World Tour are merging. Like, anybody that's been around golf or has like any knowledge as to what's been going on the past 14 months, 16 months, something like that. It has been a frenzy around golf since the Live Tour has emerged.
Yeah, it's been I'm not even gonna lie to you, Cal. I know a lot of people are scratching their heads, right? I think we're all, as sports fans, golf fans, fans of the sport, or just simply interested in it and keep tabs on it. Whatever level you're on of how engaged you are into the sport or PGA, Live, everyone's scratching their heads. Even the PGA players are scratching their heads. Let me say something real quick. If there's two sides to this part. I know this might be a sensitive topic for some people that I'm gonna get into, but mind you guys, this is my opinion. This is coming from my mouth. If anyone wants to come towards my take, come directly to me on that. We have Live players. They left PGA for their reasons, which I think was personally reasonable. I mean, it was valid. They can do whatever they want. They felt like they weren't getting compensated enough. There was another opportunity, and they went to go take that opportunity, and they got paid. PGA players, they felt like, no, we're staying loyal to this brand. We're sticking with it. They felt like everyone should have sticked with them and kept it in-house, with PGA. Respectable there too. I commend that. But at the same time, I felt as if you're PGA players, why is this such a big deal? Now, there's several reasons to that, but hey, So what if they decide to go take their talents to a different organization? Control what you can control. If they feel like they can get more money, it's business. It's a business. At the end of the day, people have always felt a thing. I've noticed a lot of people in this country have felt a way about any golfers going to play for Live, which is obviously ran by an investment company or corporation. Forgive me if I'm not saying the right specific words for it, but it's Saudi Arabia owned, and they're conducting this, and they really are serious about investing into the sport of golf. And they've gone this far, right? Taking a bunch of PGA's, talent and paying them good. They got money. Now, with that being said, I never quite understood why people have such an issue with players moving to go play for Live. But we have our government, we have many businesses right here partnering and doing business with the same people, or with the same, country. So I mean, like, let's just call it what it is. It's a free country to do business with whoever you want, however you feel about it. And I know Saudi Arabia is very, what do you want to call it? Controversial. I get it, but I don't hear anybody giving our, people in the front office and Capitol Hill giving them a hard time. I don't. So what's it to a person doing a business deal to get a nicer living? I'm just going to put that there. Moving along. I don't want to take too much time on this. There's something to be said. So if you're a Live player, you're probably living really good right now. And I'm going to get to why. If you're a PGA player, I actually feel sorry for you. Not for any other reason than I actually genuinely feel bad. Because we have this merger that happened out of nowhere. And not only were they blindsided and found out the same time as all of us in the public, but they found out just when we all were still in the same thinking that there was some sort of division still. There was still tension. There were still two different sides, right? And then not only do you find out just randomly with all these questions, but you also find out that due to this merger that's happening, you could have as well just left and got money and then came back. But instead, you're stuck with PGA that you stay loyal to, and the person and the brand that you are advocating for and staying loyal to, the commissioner decides to go under your feet and go ahead and work with the Saudi Arabians and then just do a merger. How does that make you look? Now, now I feel bad for them, right? Because that sucks. And Rory had his conference. I don't know if people saw that, but he had a press conference talking about it. And he just ultimately said, in the long run, it's going to be good for the sport, which I agree. Them merging is going to be good for the sport. Everyone can kind of get involved. They can do a lot of things together versus not together. I don't know what that's going to look like. There's a lot of questions in the air on how branding, or even, just a whole bunch of things. You can go down the list, how they're going to do this. But it's just so, he even said, like, they can't just come back with no type of consequence. Now, you and I, Cal, both talked about what does that consequence even look like then? They can't participate in certain events, or they don't get as much money through something, although it's a partnership. It's not like PJ is taking over Live and PJ has a say in that. So, like, how does that work? And how does, rankings now work? I mean, there's so many questions with little answers. We don't have all the answers right now. But just listen to Rory's press conference. You can just read it all through that, however long that was. I saw a lot of different snippets and 2-minute long, 5-minute long parts of people asking questions. He knows just as much as us. And that's a shame. So that's a lot on them. I feel bad for them. If the live players are able to just come back as if nothing happened and they still getting paid and now they can participate, that's something. Um, the commissioner should be ashamed of himself. You have all these players sticking up for you and this brand, and you decide nothing's wrong with you merging. If something happened, things changed, it was a good opportunity, then you at least inform them, say why, everyone can kind of agree or whatever the case may be. And then you kind of make news about it, saying, hey, they're actually looking to merge. Looks like they were able to make some agreements and get past a few things. And then you do it. But to have it where it's just out of the blue, there's so many questions, and they were blindsided, that comes across as hypocritical. That comes across as very snaky, in my opinion. It just comes across as a gut feeling like there's something more to this that's not being said, and it is not giving a good gut feeling about it. And that's just me. But the commissioner, for whatever reason, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling him. That's just not the way to do things, especially as a leader. And now we're left with more questions than we do answers, especially for something as big as this. That's a very big thing that dropped, and there's no answers to it. Still no answers to it. So I'm very intrigued on how that's going to work. I know I just gave off a whole little monologue, but I just really want to share that on my take on this, because I feel like there's going to be more interesting things that will come from this ultimately. And I'm very curious on how they're going to put it all together.
Yeah, and so like it's when this news broke, I kind of like I really just texted you, and I was kind of just like, yo, really, this is like what could happen. This is what it sounds like is happening. But at the same time, I was like, I have no idea what just happened right now. When I got up in the morning, I don't know what notification hit my phone. I really don't. It had to be The Athletic, but like it was just something. I saw PGA Live merger, and I just said, "What?" I was like, "I'm dreaming. There's no way." And like there's just like this fat storyline, and I'm gonna be honest with you. There's this Netflix series that came out like late last year, or early this year. I can't remember when it came out. I think February it came out, but I haven't watched it because it's on Netflix, and I just don't really want to pay for Netflix. But the storyline that comes about it is when everybody is splitting from the PGA to go to Live for their money or whatever they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately coming back, it's a good thing for them, because it's what I think what they always thought was like, if they were to go play on this other tour, there wasn't really that much consequence that could come about it, because there isn't a issue with people going from the DP World Tour to the PGA Tour or vice versa during off season. So why is it an issue for another tour? But I think it's just going to be better for golf, bringing all these top golfers back together. And with the PGA, like I'm not saying that it's not entertaining, because like someone new wins every other week. So realistically, you just throw in these other top 50 and up guys back into tournament play with each other. It's just going to be good golf for everybody to watch. So that's kind of where I stand on it. But like, it's kind of just, there's a lot of gray areas, and like, especially with just like how it happened. It was just way too abrupt, and like there's just no other information besides it's happening. But I can only imagine that like they'll still keep their tour schedules, but they'll play some tournaments together.
Yeah, I think in the long run, it's for the best. So I can understand why. Like at the basis of it, the foundation of it, I can understand why the decision was made. I think it's a very smart business move. Leading up to that move, though, and how it was handled is the part where it has everyone scratching their heads and wondering, okay, but how? Or why wasn't anyone informed? That's the part that just comes across a little weird. But at the end of the day, people want to see good competition. Like you said, PGA, they have a winner each tourney, and it's a different one. And, we love that. But to have the best of the best able to go at it, you always want to see that in any sport. And so to have that reunited in a different way now that we all would never have guessed, I wouldn't have guessed this, I don't think any of us did, is a good thing. So we'll definitely see how they put it all together. I'm curious on how the structure of things and how they coordinate it all, but they'll figure that out. I mean, I'm sure they had to have put some type of blueprint together to announce that they were going to merge. So it couldn't have been just, hey, let's just do this and figure it out along the way. I'd hope not. So we'll definitely keep an eye on where things go from here, and just keep reporting on it. If it's worthy. But yeah, we'll keep eyes on this. I know I will. I know both of us will for sure, to see where this goes. But just really weird on that. What was it? Tuesday. This really weird. With that
And
news.
it was like,
yeah.
It wasn't even like it wasn't even a known golf breaking news moment. It was CNBC, and it was just no one really believed it because it was just like it was happening and whatever. But I don't know, man. It makes the rest of the year interesting because we're going into the Ryder Cup this year, which is a team play event, which is usually US versus Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the European ex-captain was stripped of his honor for going to live. So that kind of makes it a little interesting now.
Wow.
Because like you would think that like that means that there's potential for them to play in that event, which will be really good for everybody because, again, you add these top 10 golfers in the world from both Europe and US. Like it's going to make for a great tournament. But I don't know.
We'll see. We'll definitely see what happens and where they go from here. I'm definitely curious at this point, and I'm curious to see how all PGA players feel. We got to see how Rory feels, and I know he did not look happy. He did not seem happy.
It's sad.
Yeah, because I know the thought has to be going through their heads. Well, we could have just walked and then just came back like that.
No questions.
Yeah. And now it's kind of like, okay, you're now in the front seat as the PGA. If you just let them come back just like that, it's going to make you look weak or something, lack of a better word, but it's going to make you look weak.
True.
But then if you do some type of consequence, you got to make sure it's just or some type of limit. I don't know if consequence is the right word that Rory used, but maybe like a limitation. I don't know what that looks like, and I don't know if that would be good for the sport. It just really depends on what it is, but you gotta be careful on whatever that is, so that way it doesn't ruin the sport of golf or even the competition. I don't know what the right answer would be. I don't know what that looks like that Rory is suggesting, so they don't just come back with no repercussions. Because I get that in his case, I get that because it's like, well, wait a minute. But yeah, I don't know what he's suggesting for something like that though. But we can't speculate. We can only we only know so much. All of us do. We can only speculate what it's going to look like and just keep our ears to the ground and see what continues to come out. But it's going to be interesting. But I would definitely want to see what PGA players, all of them, how they all feel about this, and we'll go from there. But let's bring up the mood a little bit. You know, I know Live players, they're feeling real good. Let's talk about a team that is feeling real good. Cal, I'll let you do the honors, man. We just had a game that just ended tonight, and this team is on fire. Like they're like LeVar Ball, never lost. Like they're solid. I'll let you take it, man. But we just had an NCAA softball championship title. Yeah, 3 in a row.
3 in a row. 3 in a row by Oklahoma University Sooners. Those girls got it done again. Just, you know, it was really funny because like we got to watch both games the past 2 nights. And what was really interesting about tonight was when we were watching everything like build up from the first pitch, it was just like when the Florida State girl hit the first home run, Sam's mom said, you know, it's okay that it wasn't really earned. So it's not really going to bring the momentum anyway. And then some stat pulled up on the bottom. And it said Oklahoma Sooners only losing 8% of plays of all year. 8%.
That's insane.
And so I was just like, not earned. I was like, you know, that makes a lot of sense. So let's see what happens here. A couple home runs later, it's just like, oh yeah, they can hit.
A lot of sense.
They did it. 53 straight wins.
That's not easy to do. To go 61-1 and 3 back to back. I mean, that's a little dynasty right there. That's an NCAA football for men. I mean, that's a little Alabama-ish esque. You know, that's impressive on Oklahoma's part. They're balling for sure, and they're doing their thing. And I mean, that's the heck of a record, almost flawless. That's insane. I can't commend them enough. Those girls can play. That coaching staff can coach, and they definitely are able to assemble those pieces to stay competitive these last 3 years. I don't know if Oklahoma and their program has been historically known to be one of the top dogs, but in recent memory, as we're currently in the moment, they're definitely built up themselves a dynasty for the three-peat. That's not easy. That's impressive.
I want to hit you with a crazy stat.
Okay.
Patty Gasso, their head coach, hired in 1994.
1994. Okay. Before
She's
I
only
was
won
born.
7 championships.
He said only.
Only 7. But think about that, Dante. Think about that.
That's a good amount of championships.
It is a good amount of championships, and she built that from ground up by herself. And props to her, she got it done. But who will keep? I guess the Spurs did, but who would keep a coach that long? And like, we're talking, that's older than us, Dante.
I understand where you're going with the.
You know, you're this day and age, you're booted tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
So like, the fact that she got to this point Like just this, like her whole story just makes her the ultimate GOAT. But it is just, it's just baffling, honestly. Shout out to them. Like it hard fought all the way through. No doubt in my mind that they were not gonna not win this game tonight.
Yeah, they were heavy favorites. I'm a challenge that feeling though. Would you? I would almost say in professional, excuse me, in professional sports, it is less common to see a coach with the same team for 10 plus years, like a Greg Pop, right? Um, or a Bill Belichick. Like those are anomalies. They're grandfathered in. They're really embedded in the front office too. But like in college, I think it's more common than we think, where we see it in various sports in college where, yeah, that coach has been there for 15, 20 years. Easy. Like they're a mogul here. Like, until they decide to retire and they look like they're about to be on their deathbed and then they end up taking another 10-year deal. Like, what? So, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
So
That was just
it's like, so I mean, I told you I'm coming. I'm coming this episode, man, with the heat. And I'm just telling it like it is. I don't know if it's that surprising in collegiate level for coaching. I think you can secure your spot for a minute as long as you're staying relevant and in the mix. And if you win here and there, at least too. So I'm not too surprised with that, but that is definitely a blessing and shows to their commitment behind her and her coaching and her pedigree and what she's been able to accomplish. And they have faith in her with their college athletes. So, and recruiting, all that. So that's big ups to her.
Yeah, I gotta get like very good clarification because I'm like, from like bits and pieces of like stories of like, and I get this like once a year of Sam's like softball mind just like clicking in and then just feeds me so much information. I'm pretty sure she went to a camp out there. And I really want to pick her mind about it. Because like realistically, she is like a Greg Popovich, Bill Belichick. Something about her, and like it obviously has shown as of recent years, she's got something going on.
Oh yeah, she got it figured out.
Those girls had passion all the way through the game, and it was coming off of base hits, doubles, home runs, but even walks. Like I saw one of their girls like slam her bat down after getting walked.
Yeah.
It was like in one of the quarterfinal games. Like it was just like, what? I'm down for it, but like what? It's very, very fun to watch. And I think that's been as of this year that I've seen a lot of it. But that's just what she preaches, is for them to just be passionate about what they do.
Yeah, I think passion is everything. We watch any collegiate level game and there's so much passion. I mean, this tourney, every single game you see those players really, just screaming, yelling. They're giving it their all. They're pushing their bodies to the limit. The focus is there. If you win, you're just ecstatic. If you lose, like the emotions are really showing. Like they really care out there. Like they really care. Like the love of the sport, the passion behind it, it shows. It's hard for them to keep it bottled in. You see the girls on the sidelines and the bullpen, trying to yell, give some motivation, encouraging words to their teammates, just keeping things pumped and alive and chants. I mean, all these things. March Madness. I mean, it's the same thing. Man, you don't see that in the NBA. You don't see that in the MLB. You don't see that in the NFL. With, and I'm overgeneralizing right now, but there's certain players that you will see it with. And I appreciate those players in those various professional sports that show their emotions, show their passion. They're very vocal about it, or they show it just on their face, the body language. It just bleeds, right? But a lot of times it's more so like, yeah, that person works hard, they play, but you don't see the passion. At most, the passion that you'll see is just the hard work that they put into the game. But while they're on the court, you don't really see it. It's really night and day watching a college game that's in the collegiate level versus the pros. Like the passion, just and the hype, the energy. That's what it is. That's the word. The energy. It's not the same, and it's so obvious. And I watched the Oklahoma versus Stanford game. I felt like that was a really good matchup. So I wanted to check that out. I watched that one. I think that was Monday or Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. I think Monday. And I watched that game, and I texted you, man, just saying, man, like this, they're really into it. They're feisty. That was the word I used. They're feisty. Like they're really getting after it. They're playing no games. They're really really engaged, and it made me really interested. Like the game was already a good game. Like it was already competitive. It was a close game. Could have gone either way, but that just was icing on the cake. And I feel like money. I'm wondering if money is that thing that changes and shifts that passion. Like we say it all the time. A player that gets paid, right? Before they get paid, they're balling out. They're playing to get that big paycheck, right? They're doing everything they can, putting their body on the lines, all that. And the moment that they get paid, the following season, the play goes down. It's like the motivation went down. The passion went down because they got paid. The money changed it for whatever. I don't know if it's a mindset thing or what, but it's like they're not hungry anymore. Like I got paid, and I'm just gonna hoop a little bit, or I'm just gonna, hit some home runs maybe here and there. But like it's not the same. You don't see the same energy from them anymore. It's weird how that happens and how that works. It's not for everybody, but it's more common than people realize. And of course, you got to get paid, but people get those big time contracts for what you've done, obviously in the past. That is a factor. What you've been able to do, you get rewarded for that. But they also pay for what you're projected and your ceiling as well for the next few years, of what you potentially can do and what you're destined to do. So there's a two-way thing with deciding that contract that they'll give you. And I don't know about you, Cal, but I blame money for the passion that goes away. I know there's NIL deals too, but I still think even with the NIL deals, you still see a lot of passion in the collegiate level. Something about once they get to the pros and then they get paid, it's just the passion just doesn't show anymore, in my opinion.
And like you would think so. And you just go down the line of just people that have been paid, and the younger they are, just the more insane it is. Like Mikey Williams. Like that kid, major bag. And he was like only like what, 16 years old? Something like that. Something crazy. Had his own shoe at or something like that. Dude, now I don't want to say he's irrelevant. He might be. I know that he's still climbing out there, but he's got this hype. But like I remember that like at some point he got into some sort of trouble, and then now everything he does is just under a microscope, and like it's like hard to look at him as like a almost grown man because he's like 19, but like he's still this child that had tattoos at 16 too.
Mm-hmm.
Like crazy. But I gotta give Jordy Ball a shout out. She pitched unbelievable throughout the whole season, but like majorly through the tournament. Hope she secures a bag out of this.
Yeah,
But it does show in some places if someone gets paid a little bit of money that their lack of effort shows. And is it a big issue? Maybe, but I think with just NIL deals starting out, we still got to give it a chance. And it could still be beneficial for everybody later on. But maybe it should be more based off performance than it is just upfront, hey, we want to sponsor you. Here's X amount.
Yeah. Well, would you say that? Because here's the thing: there's many players in the past that I felt like should have gotten paid, especially when they're bringing in so much revenue for that college, right? Or just the NCAA in general. You know, players such as Johnny Manziel, right? Should have gotten a bag while he was in college, but because of timing, he's one of those people that was a big time face, big time name and headliner in his college days that didn't get paid a dime. Well, and if he did, it was very, discreet, low key, could have gotten in trouble, whatever. But it wasn't probably anything near what available non issue thing now of a policy where, yeah, you can get paid from any endorsement now, and he probably make twice as much as what he probably got in maybe under the table or nothing at all. Okay. I think if you're a collegiate player who's playing amazing, right? And you're a headliner, you're a big name, you should definitely get paid. But that does not mean everyone gets paid. So I just want to preference that not everyone should get paid. It should be based off of how you're producing, and it might be different levels, different tiers of the amount that you might get, or how many endorsement deals you might have. I don't know, but yeah, not everyone should get an NIL deal. Just no, you got to produce out there. And then, hey, maybe that's another incentive, right? On top of it all. I mean, it probably is already. But yeah, I'm not advocating that everyone gets paid. You got to really earn it and be like, hey, this college, I'm making the money, so I should get something out of it. So yeah, I think passion has something to do with that and is affected with getting big time money. And that's why we don't see it so much in the pros. But when I do see it in the pros from a certain player or overall team, I love it. That's just a lost art that I just really, really love. You can't undermine it, and can't take it for granted.
Agreed. I mean, again, we just have to let it all play out. And at this point, it's just, we can only hope that there's just as much passion and more sports than there is in college softball. I don't know, and I can speculate. I mean, there's not really professional opportunities that come about with softball. It's kind of a big hoorah if you're at the World Series,
Mm-hmm. That's true. That is
Now,
true.
there are still professional opportunities, and some girls will probably go out and play. Some may be overseas and go play somewhere else, but it's just, it's sad because, yes, you would want something more to come out of it, but like, respectfully, in softball alone, there's just not that big of a market for it. Like, some of these games were being played like Monday was OU Stanford at noon our time,
Right.
or sorry, 9 a.m. our time.
Yeah. 12 noon Eastern.
Yeah, and it's just like, how did they get that time slot? That's kind of a shitty time slot for an important tournament and a semi-important game. And I counted the games. There was 15 games played in the past week. And I think I've only watched 2 or maybe 2 other games besides most of OU's games.
Yeah, I've only watched one, and it was early in the morning, and I happened to work from home that day, so I was able to flip it on. Um, but yeah, the time slots aren't in his favor. You know, like how the NBA for the playoffs, you know, they have it on prime time, peak hours that people will be able to sit and watch these. 9 a.m. A lot of people are working or something, so it's not really the ideal time slots necessarily.
No, and like I know with anybody that's played club ball, they know that tournaments can start anywhere from 4 a.m. and go anywhere till like 12 a.m. So it's not new for them to play at just random times like that. But I think to grow the game more, you try to fluctuate in there somewhere. Some channels got to have a prime time spot that they're just like, yeah, we just have a bullshit program going on right now. We'd love to have the Women's College World Series to be featured on our channel.
That would be big time.
It would be, but like it's just not gonna happen, which kind of sucks. And that's why, like, I just believe it's like kind of just like the last 2 Raw. But the girls deserve more, like all up and down. D1 softball, D2
Agreed.
softball, they all deserve more. I vouch for that, but until there's like a bigger market for it, it'll just never happen. But
yeah, the market really dictates. You can kind of give what the people want, especially if there's a big demand. Hopefully that happens. Hopefully something changes with that. Never say never to that. It's never impossible. So we'll definitely see that. But big congrats to Oklahoma. Their passion, their drive, their discipline, everything that went into the off season and training camp, etc., led to this moment. Almost flawless of a record, 61-1, third straight three-peat, back-to-back champions. Impressive. Let's see if they can four-peat. See when it stops finally, right? We had mentioned in our previous episode that we were going to the Dbacks versus Braves game. That was Friday of last week, which was June 2nd. That was the first game of that series. Both teams tied with their records exactly. And we got to see that game. And we even posted a reel for those that saw it. Anyone that hasn't seen it, definitely check out our reel that we posted on it. We gave a little commentary throughout the game, but we were able to condense it, and a lot of it was Cal able to commentate what he thought was going to happen and his reaction, which was the best on what happened towards the end of the game. It was a very fun game to watch. Watching it come down to the wire, Eddie hit a home run that really started to make the game interesting and close, and ultimately the D-backs ended up winning the game for that first one. But very fun game. That was fun to have Athletic Intelligence out there to share some content, but also be out there. So we definitely try to go to whatever games we can, and that was a fun time, man. I know the Braves didn't get the win that you're hoping, but a very, very competitive series that they ended up having after that, the next two nights.
Yeah, and like most definitely it was just overall a very, very fun night. The only thing that would have made it better was the win, but it was a very close game. Can't be mad about it. There was a lot of takeaways from that night that were very insane. There was that fan fest that was going on downtown. And
Right.
I know that morning I was like, oh shit, I need parking. I need to get some parking. Open it up and it's like $40 like everywhere that like you need to park.
Right.
I was like, whoa. I didn't think that the Braves would bring in this big crowd.
Nope. Ain't your Braves.
And then like we're in the stadium and I'm like, oh, it's not too bad in here. And then but like as we were walking in, I was like, oh, there's a Mercury game going on. So that makes sense. But then we saw everybody dressed up and I was just like, I know we're going to Batman night, but like none of you are dressed like Batman. I was like, what's going on?
Right.
And then like just happened to stop somebody. I was like, hey, what's going on? And then it was like FanFest. I was like, FanFest. And then just kind of just put two and two together. And I was just like, oh, this is pretty cool. But I was just like, how did we end up in downtown Phoenix with 8 different events going on?
So much was happening. The traffic was insane just trying to get to my parking garage. And I saw, I didn't originally see people in costumes or anything until we were walking to the stadium. And I ended up finding out it was Batman night. But then I saw some people dressed up and I was like, I've never seen that character in a Batman comic or movie. So I was like, what villain are you? Yeah, I ended up catching on, obviously, and you were able to tell me ahead of time that was happening. I had no clue. So there was a lot of stuff happening that day, that evening. So yeah, the streets were insane. It was also First Friday, so out here in Tempe, every First Friday they have a lot of music going on, live music, food trucks, everything is going on. So crazy packed. Yeah, so just a bunch of things happening on the same night, and that was pretty much in proximity. That was not far at all. It was like 10 minutes, if that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on that night, but it was a fun night. It was good weather outside. They had the roof open, and we were close to Acuna, as well. Heckling him. Okay, we weren't heckling him, but yeah, it was a good game. Always good, and to see those two teams going at it, it was pretty interesting just to see how
the D-backs are good.
D-backs are competitive. They got talent. Anyone that's been on that team has gotten better, and they'll run with anybody at this point. It's pretty impressive. So I was not expecting that. They're definitely the biggest surprise of this season in my book. We'll see if they can continue that. I know the Braves will. They'll They just won a championship not that long ago, So, but yeah, it was fun. So we'll definitely try to go to more games, obviously, for various sports. If it's Cardinals, if it's a Suns game, if it's a D-backs game, all that. So we'll definitely try to hit up more games. I know the last game you and I went to was a Suns game, and before that, it was like a Rattlers arena football game that we went to. So each time we do that, we'll definitely fill you guys in on what we do and we check out all those things.
I low key forgot we did that, but I remember one of my buddies brought up. Do you remember the guy that balanced everything?
Yeah, like the ladder on his chin,
Yeah,
something crazy like that.
I can't remember what he said he went to, but he was like, "Dude, you have to see this street circus act." And I was just like, "All right, cool, let me see." And I just see the first 2 seconds of it. I'm like, "Oh, I know that guy." I was like, "He's about to put that ladder on his nose," and and I was just like, "Why do I remember that?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah, it was that Rattlers game," and
Yeah.
that was such an interesting night. That was my first time seeing Footprint Center, which was really
Yeah,
cool.
that's right. That's right.
I remember that. I remember being excited for that, but it was. I've never been to an arena football game. I've only ever seen them on TV, and it was when I was 8, and it just kind of it just made sense. It made me think that I could play football in the living room.
Yeah, indoor football. Yeah, it was. I remember watching it a little bit growing up, just a little bit, just seeing it here and there if it ended up on the TV. But it was fun to definitely check it out. Something different. I think something else that I want to check out is a hockey game. I've never been to a hockey game.
We really are.
See the sad Coyotes go at it. I think that'll be a cool experience. But yeah, nothing to brag about with the Coyotes out here.
We might need to head out to Vegas, go watch the
Golden Knights. Yeah, they played tonight. They're up 2-0 against I think, what is it, Florida Panthers. So they're doing their thing right now, and they might have won this game here, going up 3-0.
Well, firstly, I'll get to the Florida Panthers thing because it kind of mixes it with what I'm about to say. Because I really want to talk about what happened the past 3 nights. One, my bets are hot. I ain't gonna lie, they're hot. I've made 3 boosted bets on the Braves the past 3 nights, and they've all hit.
He's on a streak. Yeah, okay, Oklahoma.
Now, partially cheating. It was the Mets going up 4-1 in the first game, and I was like, we're definitely not going to lose by 2. I'm going to take the plus 1.5. Boosted it. I don't even know why FanDuel gave me a boost, but I boosted it. Long story short, after Pete Alonso hits his home run, and this is right before I placed my bet. He says, throw it again, please. Chirps our pitcher after hitting a home run. Now, it's okay. Stuff happens. Things are sad. A few innings later, the Braves are making a run. Ball gets hit down the left field line. And Jeff McNeil just forgot how to field the ground ball. Braves take the lead, won that game. Great start to the night. Bet hit. Even better, the Braves won. Game 2. Pete Alonso gets hit in his first at bat, and honestly, we get called. I say we Braves fans get called classless because everybody in the crowd was cheering because he got hit. He was hurt. Sorry about it, but kind of, I don't know. X-rays and stuff came back negative, so you just got hit pretty hard. That's about it. But got called classless because they were cheering about it. Long game. Braves come out with the win. Same situation. Caught the Braves at like a weird point where I could put plus 1.5 on them. Boosted it again. Hit. So I think I even took like the under. And that hit too.
Everything hit.
And then tonight, game 3. Boy. Mets went up hot. And I was just ignorant. Very ignorant. I said, we're not losing this game. We're getting this sweep. Late or in the game, Mets are up like 10-4 or something like that. Boosted the Braves money line. Came back. Orlando hits a home run in the 9th. Ozzie hits one in the 10th to walk it off. We swept them.
And what else did you do to them for the playoffs?
Mathematically out of playoff contention. Trash.
And when you told me that, I was like, wow. Like already mathematically out of playoff contention so early into the season.
We're in June. We're a month. Like what, 2, 3?
Yeah.
We still got like 3 more months, 4 more months.
A lot of game to play. So to be out of contention already, and you have so many more games to play. Man, yeah. That I don't even gotta say anything else to that. I think we all know what that is. You're just playing till you go to Cancun.
You guys pack up early this year.
Yeah, honestly.
Congratulations on another successful season, Mets fans.
You know what's interesting? Was the Mets perceived after last season and how they played, were they perceived to be the New York team or just the team in general to really come out this season to, be competitive and really like in the mix?
Well, given the fact that they spent so much money in the offseason to bring in Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander, which, how did that go for you guys? They were supposed to be the front runners in the NL East. So take it for what it is. Look where we're at now. Everybody, so early in the season when I was making division winner parlays, I said, as much as I want to say the Braves can win the East, the only team that might really scare me the most is the Philadelphia Phillies. And everybody was like, why are you counting out the Mets? I was just like, nothing speaks to me about what they've done that makes that team that good. Now, might just be me, but that's just what I gotta say.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think Philadelphia has always been respectable. But in terms of the Mets, I think, you called it. I would have had guessed because I knew there was buzz around all the trade or all the other money that they put out to acquire, the different various people. You called it with, like you said, you called it with the various deals that they made to acquire some of the players over the offseason. And they look to have really been trying to push the envelope into this season to take things up a notch. And that obviously did not go as planned because now you're mathematically out of playoff contention. So this week, this series, the stretch of 3 games against the Braves was do or die. And they died. So, it just goes to show those series really matter, especially when you're fighting for your playoff lives. It can be snatched from you pretty early. So I had no idea about them being out if they lost tonight. That was something that you taught me. And ultimately, this week of games, this series against the Braves, these were the most important games of their season to make the playoffs, clearly. And so with these stretch of games that they lost, the series that they lost against the Braves, it was do or die going into this. And they died. So, I mean, hey, they dealt their own cards. It is what it is at this point with so much more season left. But hey, give it to the Braves for knocking someone else off. Now they're on to other series to try and take on. But it's going to be interesting how the rest of the season shakes up.
Yeah, and I don't really know how it came onto my plate. I want to say it was just like a Instagram headline of that, but it's very concerning because it's only June, and I honestly didn't think about that. I was so bought in. We're just going to sweep the Mets today, and that's it. That's all I wanted to do this series.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, but
that part of it is icing on the cake.
Yeah, you got something even better that you didn't even realize you needed.
You feel bad for their fan base, though. Not really.
I didn't expect you to say that.
Not really, but it's just like, with respectfully, with how much money they dumped into their team, you guys are in a very, very bad spot.
Yeah, no doubt about that. As of right now, yeah. I mean,
I'll let the three of you jump ship and come on over. Yeah, I drop colors and everything though. Like, no going back.
oh yeah, you got to drop all allegiance, pretty much. But you know how New Yorkers are. They're gonna ride and die with their teams. I mean, look at New York Knicks fans. Haven't won a championship since Nam, and they're still fans of them as if they're gonna win a championship next year.
Yeah, shout out my man Luch down in Florida. But also, you had this coming. Just know that you had this coming.
Okay. All right. Shots. I mean, he catching strays, so I don't know who Luge is in Florida, but he's catching strays right now.
He's my guy. Love him to death, but he's a Mets fan, diehard Mets fan. Okay. We had like a little friendly banter going on the past couple days, but it was like maybe Saturday last week. We had like a very good long conversation about baseball, and like it was a very happy conversation. So very, very fun past week with him.
Okay. Well, shout out to him. Shout out to him. Is he a Miami Heat fan? Because he's in Florida. Is he nearby Miami?
He's whatever about it, but definitely not.
Okay. Oh.
Do you believe he's a Knicks fan?
Oh, I'm sorry for him then.
I don't want to like assume.
I have to. We have to assume that, if he's a Mets fan, it's probably just everything New York. But that's all right. That's all right. A lot of people move from New York to Florida, um, so it's all right. Sunny skies. But away from baseball, we're gonna keep covering it. Especially as the summer continues on. It's gonna be heavy baseball going on during the hot summer months. But right now, we're closing in on a game 4 tomorrow night on a Friday. Nuggets versus Heat. We're 3 games in. There was a game just the other night, and Nuggets were able to take that one. They were able to steal that one. Game 3 at home for Miami, and they had control over that game for majority of it. So they're now up 2-1. The thing is with this series, I made a prediction today with a friend of mine, and I just told him. He says Nuggets in 6, and he says I'm kind of nervous though because like I don't know. The Heat are unpredictable. It could go up and down. Like one game they look like this, the other game they look like this. Same thing with the Denver Nuggets. It's very up and down. It's not always super consistent. I said that's the playoffs. You could have the Heat could win tomorrow, and they get all the praise. Like, oh man, like the Heat are for real. They tied up the series. But if they lose tomorrow, it's like, oh, you see, the Denver Nuggets are just too much, and the Heat shouldn't even be in the finals. They're just outplayed. So every loss, it's such a big reaction. Every win is such a big reaction, and it's every single game. It can go off and on like a switch. So I said, stick to your guns, man. Just stick to it. It's unpredictable what can happen. But what is predictable is I think it's going to be a Nuggets in 7, most likely. They'll finish it off back at home. After watching these first 3 games, I like to see the Heat win it personally. But ultimately, the Nuggets, I think, just are more consistent with their role players and their stars. Really, really consistent all across the board. And you're not going to lose many games if you're consistent. I know game 2, it was a little bit different. For whatever reason, effort on both teams are being brought up. It's kind of weird to me. I mean, what do I know? I'm not an NBA player. I'm not in the finals, but what I do know is effort should not be brought up whatsoever if you're in the finals. I mean, every game matters, and that is that. There might be fatigue. There's definitely injuries, people battling through and playing through, but effort should be the last thing. Errors will happen, whatnot, so be it. But I'm gonna give it to the Nuggets. They're the superior team, but I love to see Miami potentially steal it from them.
So I will not lie to you. I know last podcast I said Nuggets in 6. Still will ride that. I did splurge a little bit of money down before game 3 on Miami to win in 6.
Was it like the spread?
And no, like Miami to win in 6 games.
Oh, and 6. Oh, you just flipped that.
And just because I was just like, what if it just happens? It's a nice payout. And then it was just like, let's hope for it to happen. Now, I still have my Nuggets in 6. That's my initial sticking to that. But you're right. It's kind of inconsistent, so it really does look like this is going to go to a game 7. Hopefully it's a competitive game 7. I'm definitely not going to count Miami out if it gets to a game 7. But quite frankly, and this might just be just me, this what has turned out to be the finals I did not want to watch.
What did I tell you last week? Or I think it was last week, yeah. I had it where I was watching the game. It was probably almost end of first quarter. And I just texted you saying, man, it pains me to say this because I'm such a basketball fan. Like, I live and breathe basketball. But I'm watching these finals and I'm just like, man, for once in a finals matchup, I can officially say this is not really a series that I care to really watch. I legit said I'm only watching this so I can stay up to date on my podcast notes. If something happened, I can at least say, hey, I watched it and I have my opinion on it. And I was able to diagnose and really just analyze, the play that I'm seeing in front of my eyes. Otherwise, hey, if I had to miss the whole entire game, I probably am not sneezing at it, to be honest. This was not really the matchup that is really calling to me compared to other matchup possibilities. I'll throw one. I'll throw two. Would have loved. I mean, this is a very obvious one. I think everyone marketing would go crazier for this as well. But I would have loved to see a Lakers Celtics matchup. There's a lot of headlines with that. Naturally. Okay. I would have loved a Nuggets 76ers matchup. I mean, those types of matchups is just like, okay, we got a battle, and this one, like, respect to both teams. They're both competitive. They're both really, really good. No doubt about it. I'm actually going to retract my statement on me wanting the Heat to win. You want to know why? You're going to laugh. I hope the Nuggets win. You know why? Because I want Damian Lillard to get traded to the Heat. Get him out of Portland. This is not part of our notes. I'm going haywire right now. But there's speculation, or not speculation. He said it. He would love to go to Miami. But if they win, he's like, that's off the table. So I need him out of Portland. I love Damian Lillard. I mean, I love Damian Lillard. Respect to him. He's overdue to leave out of there. And there's been just a lot of talks of him talking about that. So, let Miami lose. Go ahead, Nuggets. So that way he can just get his butt up out of there, go on a contending team. And that would be really interesting to see him on a Miami Heat squad and over in the East Coast. I love to see that. So yeah, go ahead, Nuggets. Go ahead and do your thing. Do your thing. That's all I got to say on that.
You see, I can go with you against Dame this whole time. One, I don't know why he's opening his mouth so much as of late. Respectfully. Now, I know that he should get out of Portland and they should have did it 2 years ago. But I honestly don't even I don't like him on the Heat. I don't think, what does he give them? Just more 3-point shots?
I mean, I think he could definitely take over as being the number one option potentially, because Jimmy Butler, his game isn't on a night-to-night basis to just take over and score. He likes to do a lot of different things, and if he needs to in the fourth quarter, he'll definitely assert himself. But it's not in his nature, his natural game of flow. He's capable, but it's not in his natural game to just go game in and game out to just ball out, like scoring, like that's my mentality, like Kobe Bryant. I'm just going in, I'm dropping 40 on your head this game. Like that's really just that's not his game. Whereas Damian Lillard, hey, you got a number one guy that can just go in and drop that many points if necessary. And you have Jimmy Butler and then Bam as your 2 and 3. I don't know, because what we're witnessing right now with the Nuggets and the Heat, I mean, Jimmy Butler, he's not able to cancel out Jokic because they're not the same size, obviously. But he can't cancel out Jamal Murray because he's not a sniper and he's not putting up, the same amount of points either. So it's like Jimmy's really relying on his supporting cast to produce, or else, like there's just no cancellation of any sort. Jimmy. And this is why I don't know if we have this. I don't know if we have this on record in the past. I think we do on a previous episode. But I said it to you. I've been on the record saying Jimmy Butler is not a number one option. I have ate my words on that in some cases, but in other cases I'm like, I don't know. Did I really eat my words? Because he's gone this far, right? He's willed this team to get to this point. So you got to be a number one in some degree. And so I'm going to give him his respect. Mind you, I like Jimmy. But what I'm seeing is, though, although he's gotten to this point, is very selective moments of him being like a number one option. It's very selective games of him being a very prominent number one option. In this case, he's got to do a lot more just to compensate for what Jokic and Jamal Murray are both doing on their end. And Jimmy can't do that on a every game basis. It's just, I don't know if it's just something that he's capable of doing it. Again, it's just not every single game, and he can't keep up with that. So Damian Lillard can do that. So I don't know, man. I'm actually not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
I don't support it. Also, I'm pretty sure this is tampering.
What's
I'm
tampering?
I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna call the front office.
Whatever. Go ahead and talk to Pat Riley. Oh man. Well, I know there's many teams I can see Dame going on. I think the Suns, I saw something before we got on this. The Suns are trying to figure out ways that they can acquire him. And that kind of ties into our next one. I don't know if you want to get into it right now or if you have something else you want to say on the Nuggets Heat.
Just make it a more entertaining series, please.
Please and thank you. Yeah. Let's extend this. And if referees gotta do something to rig it, then rig it. I'm kidding.
Rig it.
But
I need the under the next game, please.
I just really need a entertaining game or just series. Series in general. There's been some entertaining games for sure, but just an entertaining series. No blowouts, please. Like, we're in the finals. Come on, effort, everything. But to piggyback off of what we were just stating about Suns looking to acquire Damian Lillard, there was news that Chris Paul got waived. This was Wednesday, after I was getting punched with a combo of different news breaking out. That was the very last one, and I was at that point just like, is there anything else I should know going on in the sports world today? Like, I'm just ready for it now. CP3 was said to be waived. I don't know who put out that information, but it looks to be that they were incorrect, because I don't know if you saw Woj and then someone else also had it where there was a follow-up update maybe a few hours later in the same day stating that the Suns spoke with CP3, but ultimately they're looking to make a decision by no later than June 28th to decide for his future with the Suns, which could potentially involve him getting waived. But they're looking to see if they can move him. So Matt Ishbia and James Jones, the GM, looks like they're looking to part ways. Mind you, Chris Paul has one more year left on his contract, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll say this, and then I want to get your take on things, Kyle. I don't know if you knew about that in terms of the report afterwards that not necessarily he is waived. He's not waived just yet. But when I first heard the news about him getting waived, I was thinking, okay, yes, we do need to move on from him. But no, I don't understand just waiving him and getting nothing. I'm sure there's some sort of team out there that would love to pick him up. Maybe his leadership, maybe his him being a vet, maybe they believe that he has more gas in the tank. Something. We could at least get something for him. Maybe a player, maybe some role players. We can add on to the depth to the team, which was lacking, obviously, and that got exposed against the Denver Nuggets. Anything, draft picks. I mean, I don't understand just waiving a player unless we absolutely have to, and there's maybe no trade assets, or maybe, hey, we're just sick and tired of this. We'll just eat the loss. Now, if they do waive him, I do believe, yes, they do free up cap space, but his contract is still guaranteed, so he's still getting paid. But they do free up cap space, regardless. But I am a fan of at least trying to pick up somebody with depth, especially if they're not going to move Ayton. So that's still to be seen. But they're looking into Damian Lillard. Do you think CP3 should be waived, traded, and who do you think we replace him with that's out there? What kind of player, or if you have an example, what do you have in mind?
I don't know if I have a specific player in mind, but I definitely think that we should get something out of him. If it's a draft pick, it's a draft pick. It doesn't have to be a first rounder. It could be a third.
Shoot, might as well just get a box of candy.
Boy, dude, the biggest thing is the fact that he's letting a 14-year-old get under his skin.
Yeah.
That's tough. Boy, yeah, I don't care what what was said to your daughter at school. Like, if it's about you not winning a championship, doesn't really affect her in any way. That was just a good diss on you. I'm sorry about that, but didn't bring home a championship for us, so I don't see us keeping him around. I don't know why they would waive him. Let's try to get something out of it. If it really comes down to it, just get rid of him.
Yeah, I say definitely try to move on. I mean, he's older in age. When he's out there, he's not that effective anymore. And any given time in the postseason, he gets injured. It's just injury prone, and it's unfortunate. So I think it's time that we take advantage of what we have right now. We got KD. So the mentality is win now more than ever, because you guys have tasted, being so close to winning one, being in the finals, came up short. And that wasn't too long ago. So to try and get there again as soon as possible is definitely critical to try and pull off. So the time is now. And I don't know if CP3 is the answer moving forward. I don't think he is. There's reports saying that he really wants to stay and he really wants to band another season with CP3 or with Booker and KD. But I don't know if they're gonna pull that off, to be honest. I think it's time to move forward.
Most definitely. Um, with how everything has gone the past couple years, and now with the addition of Kevin Durant, us getting Frank Vogel, there's going to be a lot of change. And realistically, like I said, I don't know what we do to replace him. Hopefully, he's just a good, solid point guard. Maybe another shooter, but primarily a ball handler. What really blows my mind is the landing destinations for him. I only assumed that he'd go to the Lakers so he can go play with Braun, because it's something that like I feel like he's just wanted to do. But I don't know. He said he wants to play for several years, but he also wants to play on a contender. I don't know if there's any contenders that would want him as a starter.
Yeah, I don't know, because you kind of go off of just what you've seen that player do recently, and it's nothing really too impressive or eye-catching to go out of your way to pick him up. Like I don't know. And I've seen some people on TV, saying, "Oh, well, he's better off just staying with the Suns." And I'm like, because they were just angling, okay, what team is best for CP3? And they said, well, technically the Suns. Oddly enough, for the Suns, it's not in their best interest, but for CP3, it's in his best interest. If that makes sense in that weird kind of way. I don't really know what other team he could fit in right now, to be quite honest with you. It's just his ineffectiveness makes it really hard to put him on, okay, where does that look like? So I really don't know what they're going to do, but they made a deadline by the 28th of this month. So they're looking to do something soon, and they're trying to figure it out. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and honestly, it's just the beginning of the end to the past few years of what the Suns have built. And whatever comes about with him, thank you for your tenure here, I guess. Besides that, thank you for nothing.
Oh, I guess. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Honestly, I was so happy when I read that he was waived, but like, it was kind of just like, but why? But like, just kind of like a DeAndre Hopkins situation.
Mm-hmm.
But
yep.
It was like an initial like, oh my God, we don't have Chris Paul on our team anymore. Like, it is open up for so much more opportunity.
I hear you. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Thanks, I guess. Man, I think it's time to move on. We're not gonna be effective with him on the roster still. Unfortunately, I wish it was different, obviously. And man, we might be singing a different tune if they had won a few years ago. But I don't think Cameron Payne is a starter. I think he's still like a 6-man, backup point guard. So it'll have to be someone coming in like a Fred VanVleet, James Harden. There's been talks about that. I don't know if I really see that happening, but James Harden, Kyrie Irving as a free agent. Same with James Harden. There's D'Angelo Russell, who has a friendship with Devin Booker. That's something. So there, and also Russell Westbrook, but I think he'll stay with the Clippers. So there's some options out there. How realistic those ones are, I do not know, but we'll see what happens and how we can go about it.
Yeah, we still have the finals to look forward to, I guess. Also, but the Suns season will be very, very interesting because it starts here in very, very soon. After the finals, we get ready for draft. Whoever everyone's drafting, and then we just get right into summer league,
Right.
which is going to be very exciting. I
Oh,
think
100%.
because we're going to get to see a very big prospect, Scoot Henderson, playing the summer league.
I'm excited for that talent. I think he's going to be something special. His work ethic and his size, his athleticism. He's being mentored by Steph. I mean, yeah, I think he's taking the right steps in the right direction.
That's some praise right there.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. He definitely saw something in him, too, to put him under his wing. So, see, that's what I need. I need some mentorship, in business and everything, So, to have a mentor like Steph that's already in the game, I mean, you're doing something right. If there's a mentor, lesson learned from Scoot, snag him up if you can. Don't let him out your sight.
Straight up.
I know some people that need some mentors. You don't know who they are, Cal?
Who?
It's some NFL players this offseason alone. Dumb. I don't understand this. And it's been since Calvin Ridley. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Calvin Ridley was the first one that we've seen this domino effect. And that was, what, a season ago? During the offseason? About a season ago. And so he got suspended for a year. Obviously, got let go by the Falcons. Now he's on the Jaguars and Jacksonville. And then only until recently, we're seeing players from here, players from there. The most recent one was the Colts player, Isaiah Rodgers Sr., this past week, getting busted for sports betting. So let me get this straight. You sent me a video on YouTube with why am I forgetting? I'm drawing a blank on his name. He has McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
Yes. And I watched the video, most of it at least. I got the gist. And you can even see, I guess some of these NFL players had confusion on sports betting and what's allowed, what you can or can't do, the policy, and all these strings of players that have been getting caught and busted. Okay. I took the liberty to do my research. It took me 5 seconds really to find out what the policy was. I'm going to read this to you and I'm going to see if this is confusing at all. NFL personnel, which includes league office employees, team employees, players, owners, coaches, trainers, officials, security, and stadium workers, among others, are prohibited from placing, soliciting, or facilitating any bet, whether directly or through a third party, on any NFL game, practice, or other league event, such as a draft or combine. Anything confusing there? Seems pretty straightforward to me. I don't know what the surprise is. I mean, I don't know how they're getting busted, right? Exactly.
I do.
To a T. Okay, I'll let you enlighten me then. And well, either way, however they are, they're definitely not sneaky enough.
Fire up one of your betting apps. Anyone. And when it's spinning, it's looking for your location.
You see,
And it's
and that's
pinpointing
why
your phone.
you see, and that's the most snitch thing you can do to your own self. You might as well have it where you just have someone else do it for you. Like, you're not doing it, you're just having someone else do it for you. So like, there's many times where I've seen people, and not in the professionals, but like people, hey, I'll pass you $5. I'll pay you $5. Can you just put it on this? Because they're in a state maybe that's betting is not legal, right? So they're like, yeah, I got you. I'll go and put that. If we win it, then cool. I'll send you your piece. No one's thought about doing something like that. I don't know, but my thing is like, it seems very self-explanatory to me, off of the policy that's deliberately stating just no betting on any games, and for me, it's like, I know gambling can be addictive, so I don't know if it's an addictive problem for some of these players and they just have to do it. But if it's not, if they claim it's not, I mean, let's think about it. You want to gamble to potentially lose money on games, or do you want to gamble you having your contract and being able to play in the NFL? That's life-changing money. I mean, you're either going to get suspended for a year, like what happened to Calvin Ridley, or you just get waived. I mean, there was, what, 2 guys on the Detroit Lions a month ago waived. So it's like, is it worth it? Like, come on. Like, I don't know why this is only now popping up out of all times. It's so random.
And I don't really know why it is either, especially because, like, well, I do know there's a lot of sports betting that's going on, but I don't understand the headline about where, like, the ruling is confusing, because it is very, very straightforward. It's very concerning how many players are getting busted now. There's been a lot since Calvin.
Oh, yeah.
And that's sad, but also you guys are bringing it amongst yourselves.
There's an angle I wanted to share with you, Cal, and the listeners. We talked about John Morant. These two scenarios aren't the same, but they're the same. And hear me where I'm going with this. John Morant, what he did was not illegal, right? In the state of Memphis, he can carry a gun. He didn't shoot nobody. He didn't threaten nobody, but he had it. And the way that it was perceived, the way that he looked, the way that it looks, and with him being contractually with an NBA team, is not what their image. They don't like that. Ultimately, they're not cool with it because they're a private institution. Okay. So technically, doesn't matter what your state laws are, you're an employee of that company. If it's messing their bottom line or makes them visually in the public eye look a little, weird, or just obviously not in the best lighting, it's an issue. Okay. I don't know with these various players and where they might reside at. We're just going to assume, obviously, where they play, but that's not always the case for everybody. But we're just going to assume where they are betting, that state allows it. Okay. So let's say, yeah, the state like Arizona, it's legal to bet here. NFL doesn't care either that it's okay. It's their bottom line, and their image is all perception. And I'm seeing something now that is interesting to me. The difference with this, though, is that the NFL has a policy. So there is something in place for this. The only thing that I'm seeing that is a trend here is it's a perception thing. Because, yes, if you're if you're sports betting in the NFL or in any game or any league, and you're doing it within the league, would you say that the integrity is in question with actual professionals betting on games?
You'd
Like, does
hope
that
not.
mess with integrity?
You'd hope not. And that's just because you would hope that at the end of the day, you guys work so hard to become professional athletes. But at the same time, what isn't a few extra dollars? But at the same, like, everybody has to, like, it has to be said, because that means, like, realistically, and there was a lot of times in the NFL season last year, I was like, man, this is just not fun. Like, I was losing bets left and right because it was just like, it seemed at times that, like, teams were just throwing games. So you would hope that the integrity is still there, but with the more and more players that are coming out and being exposed for gambling, it is concerning.
It is. And it's almost as if, like, okay, is there more? I mean, like, hey, if you're betting and you haven't been caught yet, yeah, if you're a betting man and you haven't been caught yet, it might be in your best interest to, yeah, cool off on that. So, or better yet, hey, you could bet, you just can't on your own games. Like, it doesn't state anywhere in this policy that you can't bet on other, other leagues or other, sports. It just says you can't bet on any NFL games. Yeah. Which it also says practice or any league events such as draft or combine. I think that's a little excessive, maybe, on the practice or draft or combine. I mean, I wouldn't say any type of integrity would be messed up with those. But an NFL game itself, yes, it would definitely be sketch if an owner, or coaches especially, are betting on games. That just looks all kinds of wrong. Especially officials. I mean, yeah, referees doing it. I mean, that looks the worst of all things.
That'd be crazy.
So, yeah, that's crazy in itself. I mean, it's happened before. So, but yeah, hopefully it's the last of that type of news, but something's telling me we're going to see more players get caught. I mean, and I don't even know, it seems like there's a delay because obviously there's no games on right now. So it's like, I wonder, like, they definitely had to have used his ping of his location, but months later getting caught. So we might have
it every single time you do it. So
that's true. Well, we'll have to see these next few months. I'm betting on it over under. There's gonna be at least over 2 more easy that we end up coming to find that's sports betting and got caught. I'm picking the over on 2 more.
Yeah, I'll take that over too.
Yep. Wise man. Wise. Big baller. He said, I'm trying to get that payout. Yeah, nah, it's a shame, but ultimately, that is all the news this week. Crazy news that came about it. I mean, the CP3 news was literally the next following day. Same with the NFL, with the most recent one with Colts player Isaiah Rodgers Sr. So those two came out. There were some other things that came out as well, but we won't get into those necessarily. Pick and choose the topics. These ones are definitely the biggest ones. So we appreciate you guys listening in, tuning in as always with these weekly episodes. follow us on all our socials. We're definitely growing. We're definitely active on there. I want to give a big kudos to Cal. He's been definitely admitting those and doing his thing. So again, I want to give you your flowers, Cal, doing your thing, holding down the fort on the social media platforms. And you guys have been awesome, just engaging and definitely catching our reels and then meeting us here on a weekly basis. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, greatly appreciate you guys stopping by for another episode. You guys killed it again. We are on YouTube. Go subscribe over there. Be one of the first few to subscribe. Follow us on anywhere you can find us on podcasts. Honestly, like, I just keep realizing that you just look up our Athletic Intelligence anywhere, we pop up. So
Oh yeah,
thank you
we'll
guys
pop up.
for everything. You guys are amazing. We will see you guys next time. I think the only other news that was like crazy was Messi signing with Miami, and like I just don't really know what that means. So
All I'll say for that one is very unpredictable. I did not see that coming. Didn't think it would come out here.
he got a bag.
He got a bag, but apparently the Miami team in the MLS, they're like dead last in the standings. They're not good at all. So he's not going on a team that could do something, but he is getting paid and he's in a different scenery. And hey, who knows? Maybe him being on that team could elevate things for the rest of the season and the next season. So we shall see. But it's definitely hype in Miami for him to come out here. That's insane.
Yeah, without a doubt. Thank you guys, though, and we will see you guys next time. And also, if you're a Mets fan, y'all garbage.
I had to add that in there. All right.
Yeah, so any other way, we will catch you guys next time. Thank you guys for stopping by for another episode.